Hi, my name is Patrice. I'm a musician, singer, songwriter. I produce sometimes. Trying to be a filmmaker as well. I'm born in Cologne, Germany. I grew up there most of the time. My father's from Sierra Leone. He was a Sierra Leonean filmmaker and writer. And my mother is a German lady who started out in fashion. They met on an airplane somewhere in between Europe and Africa. And yeah, I was a very wild child. And basically I started playing the guitar out of peer pressure. My mother wanted to encourage something. She was all for it, but I had to prove myself. I had to show her that I was really determined to really learn the instrument. And so I had to teach myself at first, and then I got okay, pretty good at it, and I played something to her, and then we bought my first guitar, and that's the one I played on my first EP, also on my first album. I became a musician because it was just an urge to express myself, just see what I can do creatively. It was never like something, I never had an image and I followed it, it was just like, oh, cool, this sounds kind of good. And then I was like, let me try and write something, and then I was like, oh, that sounds pretty good, and it rhymes and it works, and it's got a chorus, it's got a structure. I went deeper and deeper into it, and here I am, pretty much.
Ooh yeah yeah yeah, ooh yeah yeah yeah, every day good, ooh yeah yeah yeah, because of being alive, yeah. I say, every day is good because of being alive, yeah.
My first album goes by the name of Ancient Spirit, and it was released 10, 13 years ago. It was also dealing with, my second name, Babatunde, the return of the father, the ancient spirit coming back. It was my debut album, so I pretty much wrote all my life for it. At the time, there was nothing like it around, and everyone was like, well, why is he doing this kind of music? Since then, I've been basically developing in the eyes of the public, like many artists, they develop behind the scenes. When they're ready, they come out and we're like, they're perfect. Me, I kind of started so young. I developed on stage and in the eyes of the public. But yeah, that's my way. This new album is called The Rising of the Sun, and in terms of the title, it kind of hints at the same thing, at rebirth and, a kind of adult innocence, due to rebirth. I guess that's what we all want, right? I think every day we're kind of reborn, every morning. And we can do anything if we want to. If we think we can, we can.
Every day good, oh yeah, 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 because of being alive. All the things you made believe.
I started working on this album, I would say 2 years ago, maybe. Yeah, it's not really that clear because it wasn't a process like, okay, I start and then I finish. It was more like, okay, constant, continuous working. Sometimes I did something else, then I went back to working on the album. This is like my 6th album. I've maybe done 7. It's debatable. There was one of those albums that actually counts, but no one counts it. So it's my 6th or 7th album. And this album, the press said, the return of the real Patrice. Well, I don't know who the real Patrice is, but it's definitely me going back to the roots a bit, bringing back my reggae influences, but in a modern way, It's a very good album. I'm excited about it. My creative process varies. Usually it's the melody first, and then I put chords to it, and I kind of try to follow the song where it wants to go. Trying not to really, put a concept on it first. I first want it to be kind of free and also like beyond structure, just like let it go first. I think the creative process is more about myself than about being inspired. It's about being receptive, you know? Because I think inspiration's everywhere, in everything. It's just about how we look at the world. And if you can tune yourself into the right frequency, and if you can look at the world with those eyes, you will see inspiration anywhere. So it's like a radio, you have to get in tune, and then you can, you know, create or co-create, whatever you may call it. Yeah, my process is usually, you know, I have an idea, then grab my guitar, then I write the song, I do the beat, bass, some keys, you know, and I play it all at first and then get real musicians to play it better sometimes. Sometimes the messy way of playing is the one, you know, because it has more character, more personality. It depends. Whatever the song wants, you know, I give it, you know, I follow, basically, yeah. I mean, I write and record wherever I am. Like, I have a mobile studio that I bring. The band, you know, if I record drums and bigger stuff, I usually record it in my own studio at Super Music. I mean, I've worked in many great studios. I've worked at Electric Ladyland and Quad and Avatar studios. Like, I've been to really great studios everywhere in the world. And what I'm saying is, I can get a good sound anywhere at this point. You know, once you know how to do it. I'm really into analog stuff. I have lots of analog recording machines, old vintage equipment, compressors, you know, old microphones. Like, that's really my passion. Yeah, I really love old sound, and also some, like, and then give it a modern twist. It's really my thing. The only thing I was thinking before I started doing the album was that I wanted to do an album that was very positive, very much like Spring, very constructive, very, like, more, you know, even if it talks about something sad or bad or whatever, you know, I wanted it to always have a positive twist and to give answers. Other than that, I didn't have any concept really. It just had to feel like the rising of the sun. I never felt like, okay, I want to return to my roots. No, it just so happened, I guess.
Musical inflation throughout the nation. Super radio, swaggy music.
The sound of this album, yeah, it's swaggy. You know, it's new. In each of my albums, I would have a swaggy song or two, you know, but this is a whole album. I think it's just an album where I have achieved to give it a, like, make it a complete piece of work that completely feels like one thing, you know. Even though, like, songs can sound quite different from each other, but at the same time there is something that's very homogeneous. It's got a reggae bass, but it's got, like, modern elements. It's very fresh, I would say. It's very cool. It's very cool music. But anyway, I'm also just repeating what people told me when they heard it, because when I do albums, I don't really think that much. I just follow my heart, pretty much. I follow the feeling, I follow the vibe, the song. I'm not that clever about music, really. I think the mind is in the way, so I'm trying not to think too much. I think a producer can really help you to bring out the best you can do, and I really enjoy doing that with artists that I truly like. You know, when I see that there's something about someone, I almost feel it. I almost feel like it's my duty to help them, you know, develop in the same way that people help me. I'm interested when I meet artists. Like, I meet artists like Selasu, when I've met Ayo or Neka or any of these artists for the first time. You know, you see something in them. It's a vibe. You see them and you know there's something deep about them, and you know it's gonna work. The shooting came about, like, just from an impulse. I just basically said, oh, maybe I should film a movie. You know, I didn't really think about it at the time. Why or what I was gonna do with it, you know. I just basically put up the money myself, and then we went to Sierra Leone with 2 great DOPs. The story, it's about a young man who's running away from his fears. His fears are personified by a gang of boys that are chasing him throughout the movie. And the more they chase him, obviously the weaker he gets, because at some point, you know, he's exhausted. And the stronger they get somehow, and at some point they kill him. But he comes back from the dead as a child, and then grows back into being himself and confronts them, and eventually embraces them, hugs the gang leader, and thus embraces his fears and overcomes them in that way, because they vanish. And then he moves on, you know, and he's kind of enlightened. And that's the rising of the sun right there.
Some people said the sun was not gonna rise again. They call them prophets of doom. I call them false prophets. Witness the rising of the sun. I've risen from the dead. How could I ever put on my head?
For me, live music is the ultimate form of music, you know. It's how music started. Initially, music was never recorded. Music was just performed by many people together. When we do concerts, and when you go to a true concert, you know, where someone really puts himself out there, you know, you feel that kind of thing. It's a true moment of sharing, exchange, communication. It's live music, it's alive, you know, in the same way that life constantly moves forward. It's a moment that you cannot reproduce. It's very exclusive. When you play music with that consciousness, like, this is my only shot at this, you know? To me, it's the ultimate thing, because the way you express is much more sincere. Like, concerts are, it's like proper church, you know, in a way. And when we get out of a concert and someone touched us, we feel revived, we feel enforced, empowered. So for me, it's about creating that. So I started doing these things called sunrise sessions, where I play for sunrise, you know, at around 5:30 in the morning, in different cities. And, you know, at first people said, it's not gonna work, people won't get up this early, forget it. I was like, well, no, but I want to stick to the concept, the rising of the sun. We're gonna do sunrise concert. Okay, so we just announced it on Facebook, and we had like 200 people, and people really loved this idea, you know. They brought croissants and some stuff to eat and drink. Creating experiences like that are memorable, you know, that you won't forget. Because I'm sure, you know, most people haven't seen anyone at that hour, you know. And just trying to flip the status quo and what's normal and what's being done. That's what I'm about when I do concerts, you know. My message is, you know, it's not about good and bad and these kind of things. It's not about I don't think life is about the pursuit of happiness. I think life is about being alive. It's about when you're happy, be really happy with all your heart. When you're sad, be sad. You know, when you say something, mean it with everything. Just real, you know? Like, to truly live, to challenge, you know, everything. To challenge everything. Question it. See what things are made of, you know, and then make a decision based on what you yourself found out, not what people told you. Yeah.
Screaming at a world that don't care. Screaming at a world that don't care.
I would say that's my message. Every day is good because of being alive. That's the basis.